Yo, what is up, guys? Shinobi here, back again with another video for you guys. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again with another video. Now, for anybody who knows what's going on in the VTuber space, obviously, there's a little bit of a drama going on. I don't know completely all of the details, so I'm gonna be real, I'm kind of neutral in this. But at the same time, I have heard, things here and there. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this all is going down. As a VTuber myself, it kind of sucks that there's a lot of drama when it comes to this. There hasn't been a lot recently that I know of, but this is like the first big one that even somebody like me who doesn't pay attention to it kind of just like started figuring out or started seeing even on the Twitter timeline and everything. But without further ado, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and well, let's go ahead and see what's going on here. This is a pretty long video too, 33 minutes. Damn. Yeah, this is about to be a lot. This is about to be a lot. Let's see what we got.
So today we're going to be talking about some big VTuber-related drama.
I'll give my opinions and whatnot, but as far as taking sides and bullshit, I probably ain't going to be doing that.
One of the largest indie VTubers on the scene, and that is, of course, Cinder, who is now losing a lot of her own fans, as well as some of her connections to peers, over a barrage of Google Docs that were released yesterday.
It's always a Google Doc, bro. If anybody of y'all have watched Mugen before, where he does, cover all the controversies, whether it be VTubers or, other stuff when it comes to, like, gaming, because obviously Genshin Impact had their whole strike that happened recently with the voice actors. It's just like, bro, it's always a Google Doc.
That show many negative things about her from behind the scenes, making a very clear picture that she is someone who is very manipulative, she's paranoid, and very deceitful, and even targets these things not just to anyone, but to some people within the VTubing scene who considered her a friend.
I'm not gonna lie, that right there, like, there's a lot of that going around. I'm gonna be real, as a VTuber myself, even though I'm not really active in the VTuber community, I see a lot of backstabbing going on. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because, in my opinion, I think especially right now, we should all be trying to hype each other up and build each other up. Especially in a space like this where there's so many good people out there, so many smaller VTubers who are out there. You'd think that we'd all be trying to build each other up, but it's like it's always the clout and the money and I don't know specifically what's going on in this situation, but it's always something, man. It's always something. It's like why I don't get myself involved in the VTuber community. Like, obviously, I have a VTuber model, and the VTuber community, or just VTubing in general, is obviously one of the big reasons why, I decided to make the model I did. Obviously, plus the Bleach influence, but like, I don't know, man. It's like the My Hero Academia community, It's like the anime is cool as shit, but the community, man, could be up in some bullshit. And the worst part about this is it seems like the only time, well, I won't say the only time, because that's not always the case. Obviously, Shy Lily and a couple others, like Iron Mouse, made, positive impacts on the community, and they've grown because of that. So I can't say that. But it sounds like for me, or at least majority of the time, a lot of these VTubers, who be getting in drama, be getting more, I would say, views or clout off of these negative experiences than anything. It's not always positive, but it's like you see more of that than you see you see more of the negative than you see the positive. It just sucks, right? Because once again, they got a lot of positive VTubers, small ones and everything like that, who just don't get the coverage that you would think that they deserve, who make a lot of cool content because of stuff like this, But that's just me. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm tripping, but yeah, that's just how I think. But we'll have to see. Once again, I don't know this whole situation, so we'll have to see what's going on here. But from what I've heard, it's pretty bad.
He was doing all of this, actively sabotaging some of her own friends in private, trying to hurt their career, all to line her own pocket, to make sure she's the one still on top and that these other people are no longer a threat to her. So we're going to be talking about several Google Docs.
Which, once again, I don't get it. Like, why would you not want to build your friends up? Like, why don't you want... Here's the thing that I got to say, I'll let him continue to speak. Why don't everybody want everybody to eat, bro? That's what I got to say about this. Why can't everybody be eating good? Why is it only got to be one person standing at the top? Because I'm not gonna lie, if I was as popular or well known in the VTuber community as majority of these guys who be starting the drama and whatnot, like I don't know about you, but I want everybody to be eating good, bro. I want us all to be getting something, bro. I want us all to be getting, the advertisement, the views, or if you're like an editor or something like that, I want to shout you out. Like, why would I want to sabotage you? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I don't get it.
Here, we're going to kind of weave our way through them to get more context as we go. And I promise you it's definitely worth kind of trudging through this video to get more and more context, because as you get more context, the more unhinged all of this gets. And of course, for brevity's sake, I'm not going to read through every single document. You can do that on your own. They're very easy to find on Twitter right now, but I'm just going to quickly summarize the key points and
man.
some good context to work with here. So let's begin with this individual right here. This was the first Google Doc released onto Twitter by
the fact that this is a 33-minute video. Yeah, this is about to be a long video, y'all.
Tweet sharing it has 8 million views, to give you an idea of how big of a deal this is.
Okay. Like, once again, I feel like it's always the negative shit, bro. I don't get it. I mean, I guess people love drama and whatnot, and drama, obviously, especially for the VTuber space and the gacha space, for whatever reason, just gets the most views. I don't know why. You would think that their content would be more the thing that gets the views, not the drama. In fact, usually you would think that it'd be the drama that gets the least amount of views and that nobody really care about that. That's like one of those things where it's like, it's usually in a private DM or something like that where this stuff gets solved, but I guess not anymore.
Okay, so who's this individual? Well, they're an artist who works primarily with VTubers, working with some of the biggest people in the industry, including some very large agency VTubers like Iron Mouse, and also some of the biggest indie VTubers like Cinder, as well as Silvervale, who will also be a part of this story today.
I've never heard of either one of them. I've heard of Iron Mouse, but the other one, no.
So let's begin with the intro of her Google Doc. So she says this: I wanted to share my experience with Cinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were her closest friends. Not only do I no longer wish to work with Cinder, but I want to share what I've endured over the years and shed light on what she has been doing behind people's backs to protect artists and friends that may be experiencing something similar. Note, based on working with Redacted, or Red, Cinder's manager, and Cinder over the years, I am sure that they speak for one another, and there is no reason to believe Red was acting without Cinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they or them, it refers to both of them acting as a team. So the first thing to cover here is, who is this Redacted or Red individual who's being mentioned many times? And it's important to understand who they are because their name will come up over and over again, especially in a lot of the early screenshots we're going to be seeing. So this is the Redacted individual, Red, as they're known here, and this is their pinned tweet on social media, and they are Cinder's manager. Now, I picked this pinned tweet to show because I recognize this image. It's from WeebCon 2024, where I was a featured guest, and I mention this because I attended it in person, and I got a bird's eye view of everything going on at the convention, and there was a lot of big names at this convention, especially from the VTubing scene, but I don't think anyone was as big as Cinder. She brought in a lot of people to this convention. Her meet and greet line was out the door. Her merch was flying off the shelves. Every event, including the concert she participated in, was filled to the brim with fans. She was a very big deal. Now, I bring that up not to like gas her up or something, but to show that she is doing very well financially. She is at the top of the VTubing scene, at least independently.
Which, I mean, is a good thing if you really think about it, because I know that there's a lot of drama going on with, the industry VTubers, and, a lot of those industry VTubers, the ones who, Hololive or, Nichi Sanji, I know that they be going through some shit because of, how they are managed. I think that's I might be wrong, and somebody can correct me down below, but I think that's, like, one of the reasons why, like, I think, what was it, Shy Lily? if I'm correct, ended up graduating like really recently is because she had like a confrontation or like a disagreement with whoever was managing her. So that's why she's indie now. So like being a huge indie VTuber is like a really big deal because it kind of goes to show that it's like, you don't have to go the corporate route. You can kind of just make your own thing. Obviously it's harder because you got to make your own model, you got to do your own advertisement. You got to put yourself out there, you got to do all the stuff that normally, the company would be doing for you. But at the end of the day, you get to do what you want. It's not like you're, kind of limited. So to have a huge indie VTuber like this getting herself into drama is like, it sucks to see because it's like, here we got one of the most popular, I guess, indie VTubers out there, and she's just caught up in some nonsense that was just going on behind the scenes. Like, once again, it really sucks to see.
And she doesn't really have a need for more money and more fame, as it would seem to the normal person, which makes her actions, where she's privately sabotaging her own friends in the industry, even more crazy. Because
It's confusing because why? If you've already got it all, what more do you need? Like, greed, man. Greed always ruins everything.
it's totally unnecessary with her circumstances. Now, continuing on with this red individual, you can see this response to what we'll see is Cinder's first and only response to this entire thing, actually ratioing her. Okay, this is from Van Peaches. She's someone who's been around the ASMR and VTuber.
Also, okay, this is one thing shit, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just gonna lay it out flat for you. Whenever you hear talking, um, a lot of like big VTubers, especially the female ones, or hell, even the male ones, it doesn't even matter. Talking about how they live with their manager, just automatically assume, unless they say otherwise, that it's their boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm gonna be real with you. It's just like, and the reason I say this is because, unfortunately, with VTubers, there's a lot of parasocial nonsense going on. It's kind of like the whole Pokemon thing where, a lot of the tier 3 simps out there, like parasocial as hell. I think if they throw money at the, creator, that, oh, all of a sudden I got a chance. No, you don't. I'm just going to say it now. You don't have a chance. And 9 times out of 10, they're probably already dating somebody else who is either their manager or something else. I just gotta throw that out there because unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who just don't, either like they're coping or they just don't get how this shit works. But I just gotta throw that out here because yeah, I did hear about obviously Red being the manager, which slash boyfriend slash whatever the fuck. I don't know. I just gotta throw that out there because there's a lot of delusional people out there, bro. And it's sad to see.
Seen for many years. She said this: I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you debuted like 4 years ago. You told me he was your boyfriend. Then, before we met for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, just so you know, my manager is coming with me on this trip, as if I didn't know who he was. It's even ickier to read this tweet knowing he is your significant other and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the red side of this duo. Now, this is crazy. Once again, for the 1000th time in the VTubing scene, the VTuber manager turns out to also be the secret boyfriend.
It always is, bro. Like, why would you think otherwise? Especially if they're living with the manager. Like, come on, let's use our brain. Let's put 2 and 2 together for 2 seconds. What other reason do they have to live with their manager? Unless they're like roommates. And even then, that's still pushing it. Like, come on now.
Many such cases. But this is very messy because there seems to be an issue of loyalty here. Now, there was another Google Doc that was released by this Rain individual who is part of the ASMR scene, who shared this detailing their experience with Cinder in private, where at the time, seemingly when Cinder was with this Red individual, the manager boyfriend, she was cheating on him with this guy via sexual personal messages and stuff like that. And I'm not going to sit here and read through all this. It's very clear.
So, hold on. Let me rewind that. I just want to make sure I'm not misconstruing this and anything, because obviously this is a sensitive stuff that's going on here. I mean, let me rewind that.
This Rain individual who is part of the ASMR scene, who shared this detailing their experience with Cinder in private, where at the time, seemingly when Cinder was with this red individual, the manager boyfriend, she was cheating on him with this guy via sexual personal messages and stuff.
So Cinder was cheating on her boyfriend, I guess this red dude, with this person or somebody else. And this person just came forward with the whole, once again, another Google Doc. Oh my God.
Like that. And I'm not going to sit here and read through all this. It's very clear.
This is why I call this is why I'm part of the Bleach community, bro. The only drama you'll ever see going on in the Bleach community is the Ichi Rukia like the shippers. And even then, that drama ain't even huge no more. It's just a bunch of couple. It's like those few hundred, Ichigo and Rukia shippers who think that they should have gone together, and then that's it. Like, ain't nothing crazy. Well, outside, I guess, the James Hansen thing that happened with, whatever. But that beef is squashed. Thank the fucking Lord. Thank God the whole Afro James Hansen bullshit is just done, because that was a stupid freaking drama in the first place. But yeah, that's shit. Every community's got drama, but I don't know what it is. The VTuber community you can't go a day, bro. Like if this was a drama react channel, I would be making bank right now, man. I would be making hella bank if I just reacted to every drama that happened in the VTuber space, especially the big shit. But then again, I can care less about VTuber drama. The only reason I care about this is because apparently it's some huge shit that, like, unfortunately negatively affects the VTuber community, including, I guess, just any VTuber in general. Because it's just too much nonsense going on. So I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is going on out here.
Abundantly clear that everyone involved in this knew Cinder was in a relationship, and she was venting embarrassing details of their relationship to this guy, and also they were sharing sexual messages and seemingly also like not safe for work photos possibly and stuff like that. Clearly there was that sort of thing going on here, and of course this person's no saint. They're interfering with a relationship and all that, but it just
I'm gonna say, yeah, no, they're not innocent either. There's a whole lot of bullshit going on there,
and we're gonna see that pretty much
like basically all parties involved are on some bullshit. But even still, considering with the main topic being Cinder, she's just like what is this? We're 0 for 2 now. We got 2 documents already.
Among her friendships throughout this video, and this is the response. And I guess she's not even loyal to the manager boyfriend, because
damn,
this situation currently is this tweet that she made shortly after the first Google Doc was released, and it seemed like an attempt.
Damn, the manager boyfriend got kicked. He got the boot.
Immediately redacted. Will no longer be managing or overseeing.
He got the boot.
He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I'll make a larger response when I'm able. So, as we saw, Van Peaches would correct Cinder in the replies and ratio her, saying, by the way, this was your boyfriend the whole time, and I predicted you would do this. But also keep in mind, with these sort of teaser apologies where they're like hinting at what they're going to discuss in the apology that's going to come out whenever, it's about what you mention and what you don't mention. And the only thing she really mentions here is redacted, basically kicking the VTuber manager boyfriend to the side and saying, oh, I'm sorry about everything he did. And that's really all she covers. She doesn't cover anything she said herself or any of the really crazy stuff we're going to be seeing in these Google Docs. But yeah, not a very good start. But
yeah, and I'm going to be real. Whenever you see some of these VTuber apologies for when they do bullshit, a lot of them are fake as fuck, bro. I'm going to be real. Because the plan is basically, we're going to do this apology, we're going to get the drama out the way, and then a couple of months later, everybody's going to forget about it, and then it's all going to be good. That's basically, that's the whole thing. It's like, you get the drama, it starts off, you disappear for a couple, months, weeks, whatever, and hell, if you have a big enough audience, they'll still follow you regardless. And then afterwards, it's like back to normal schedule. That's kind of how it goes, which is crazy, but, that's just how it goes.
Let's return to the Google Doc, the initial one from Nanolis, saying this: slandering other creators. I will start with screenshots showing them speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors while manipulating me that it's all in our best interest. In addition to spreading ill rumors, they also complain and accuse Bao of giving their editor too much work, and referring there to, I guess, either a joint effort between those parties or Cinder's, not really sure, but Anyways, it says resulting in the editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots below show them showing their affection and appreciation, immediately followed by spreading rumors and lies to make other clients appear problematic to manipulate any future decisions regarding commissions. Now, they share various screenshots proving what they just said, but because we had the name drop here, that is, of course, Bao the Whale, who was another very successful independent VTuber who would make her own response to this situation, her own Google Doc.
Another one, man?
She was hurt by someone she considered a friend, discovering all these messages that are trying to blackball her, at least with some of the artists she wishes to work with in the industry.
So hold on. Basically, what I'm getting out of this, and let me, get this straight. So basically, Red and Cinder, when they were working together, or at least Red, let me just, because that sounds like who we're talking about here. Redacted basically was trying to keep Nano from working on anybody else's stuff other than theirs. Like, they were kind of trying to gatekeep, Nano. Is that what I'm getting out of this? Like, somebody let me know down in the comments. And they were also trying to accuse other people of giving her, Nano, more work, to the point where it was like they couldn't work on their work. Like that's basically what I'm getting at. Is that am I correct or am I not correct? Like, let me know down in the comments. Because if I am correct, that's sleazy as hell. Because they're basically trying to gatekeep the editor from reaching out to other creators and expanding their brand, which is so slimy. Not like, that's crazy.
So she would share some of this in her Google Doc, and you can see at the beginning she clarifies again, as Nanolist did, that because she was close and worked with Cinder for years and considered her a friend, she can say, based on her experience, that Cinder and Red collaborate to the extent in which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects, and they believe that basically any effort done by Red is something that was known about and approved by Cinder, which is not surprising given the fact it's the manager boyfriend.
I'm gonna say, yeah.
Okay, so
that would make sense.
Let's get into some of the things that were said about Bao. So in March of 2024, I announced that one of my subathon goals was a live 2D model. Nanolist was going to be the live 2D illustrator. So if you're not familiar with what that means, basically, she set a sub goal where she would then commission Nanolist to make a new model for her, some sort of enhancement of whatever she already had. And that is a very big endeavor. I believe Nanolist's commissions for a VTuber model are like 10 grand. Like, they're
holy shit
expensive investments. So this is a pretty big thing to do. And also, it seems very clear from the jump here that Bao was very excited.
10 grand? I mean, I know some of these VTuber models be fucking looking kind of clean, like, not gonna lie. So I can understand, but God, 10 bands? That's 10 bands, bro. God damn. So basically, Bao was supposed to get a model from Nanolist, and Nanolist started to work on it, and Bao was kind of trying to figure out, you get the energy to do this. I don't want to be putting more work on you than you need to be doing. And then she figured out that the reason why she was so silent or like not giving out, info about the model was because Cinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolist, which then goes back to the point that he was talking about before, where Nanolist was going and talking about how they were trying to gatekeep her or him, whoever, Nanolist is, from working on anybody else's stuff other than theirs. Like, because they wanted her to strictly just work on their stuff and nobody else's. That is insane. That is actually insane, bro. Holy shit.
This opportunity to work with Nanolist because her models are very good. Hence why so many people...
10 bands is crazy, too. That ain't no small change, bro. That's money. Especially in this economy.
Back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad as I had not only teased a screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had also grown very attached to the design and showed it to all my friends in a private group chat that Cinder was a part of. I shared how devastated I was, and she did not comment or say anything despite others in the group chat comforting and reassuring me.
Yeah, I bet, because she was the reason why you weren't getting it, or he was having difficulties contacting Nano or talking to him, because she was keeping Nano, or at least sabotaging Nano, from actually working on your model. That is actually nuts to do. Once again, it's one of those things where it's like, as an indie VTuber myself, obviously, why would you not want to build up fellow indie VTubers so that you could show others that you don't gotta go the corporate route? Like, what are we doing out here? Like, one of the hardest things about being a VTuber, if you're not going the corporate route, once again, as an indie VTuber, is that you gotta do all the promotion yourself. You gotta do all the, you gotta do everything by yourself. And to be one of the most popular, indie VTubers out there, and then trying to sabotage not only your editor but another indie VTuber at the same time, is crazy to me. Like, once again, going back to my main question is, why can't we have multiple people eating at the same time? Why do we not want that? I don't get it. I don't get it.
I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Cinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolis. So you can see this screenshot that we'll see multiple times throughout these docs here, basically trying to set up an exclusivity deal with Nanolis. So Redacted here saying...
So I was right. They're basically trying to set up a deal where Nanolis would only work with Redacted and Cinder. Holy shit, bro, that's crazy.
What about we pay you X and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think like around 4 years right now, but you don't work with
anybody else.
A censor name at all again. Models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with Bao before. Also, we have some other work, yada, yada, yada. So what they're trying to say is, if you agree to this, we'll pay you a certain amount to just work exclusively with us and not with anyone else in the industry, which is already kind of a potentially scummy move, right? You're trying to like...
I wouldn't do it anyways, because that's limiting who I get to work with. As somebody who's probably an indie editor, like I would assume Nanolis is, you want to work with as many clients as possible so you can get your name out there. And being locked into one editor or one person, while it can be good, once it limits your reach. And then what happens when something like this happens, right? With this drama, what happens then when the VTuber or whoever you're working for gets into some big drama, and then they start losing followers, they start losing traction, and then they can't pay you no more. It's like, what now?
Keep this artist.
So nuts.
But someone having an exclusive artist isn't exactly
that is insane.
But in this case, it is, because one of the targets, Bao, was their friend. They're basically chopping off contact with an artist that Bao already works with, through this exclusivity agreements. And that is something pretty messed up, if you ask me.
That is really messed up.
Sabotage their own career and some of their activities so they can basically keep reins on this artist, because they don't want this artist to enhance the careers
of anybody else.
But they get even crazier down here. They say, we could do it when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece. Like, so you get another job from it. Which we'll find out, spoiler alert, this is Silvervale, by the way. They're so hung up on this exclusivity thing, they'll literally just make up things to commission just to make sure these other parties are not getting anything from this artist. It's a pretty...
So basically, they're trying to stockpile a bunch of work on Nanolis and say, oh, we still got a lot of work for you to do on our end, so you don't got to work with all these other artists or these other VTubers. You can just work with us, because we got all this work we can give you. And once again, with Redacted at this point, I'm assuming during this point being the manager, I would assume Cinder knows all about this. Like, god damn.
endeavor that they're going for with this stuff. But let's talk about the other things that were said about Bao. There's a bunch of screenshots. Again, I'm just going to sum them up for the sake of brevity here, where they tried to pepper Nanolis with a very negative image of Bao. And then they present the exclusivity event or agreement. They want to make it seem like Bao is this unreliable, bad person who's going to ultimately be a disappointment for Nanolis. So you might as well sign this exclusivity agreement.
Which is insane, because just like Cinder, she's also another freaking popular indie VTuber. Like, I know Nano is a good editor and everything like that, but to be going this far to try and keep them, to be trying to talk shit about other indie VTubers, and on top of that, trying to shame and, like, I guess in this case, I don't even know what the word would be for this. It's like sabotage, I guess, your editor is nuts, bro.
Agreement with us. That's what they were going for. They were saying stuff about how she's been trying to take away some of their editors, that they're convinced that she tried to convince these editors to no longer work with Redacted and Cinder, and that she's trying to bark up the tree of one of their live 2D animators, and that it's so annoying and that she has all these issues. It's really just lined out here. She's been getting on their nerves for a while. She hijacked their YouTube editor, constantly picking up artists that they work with, barking up the tree of the live 2D animators. And also, as pointed out right down here, she has a way of guilt-tripping people.
So they basically lied and pulled a bunch of bullshit out of their ass, Eisen style. Like, straight up garbage, like, Kyogo Sugetsu type bullshit. They basically lied about Bao's character on purpose to try and get Nano to not work with her anymore, so that she could sign this deal and exclusively, like once again, I know Nano's a good editor, but like, is she that good that you're willing to go this far to sabotage another VTuber and sabotage your editor just to get her to only work with you, her or him, whatever? Like, what?
To get her way, which is an incredibly ironic thing for Redacted to be saying in this context. But as you can see, it just continues on and on with more things, trying to basically push down these other creators and form this exclusivity agreement that will ultimately work to the benefit of Cinder and to the detriment of the other potential clients. But of course, we had that whole thing where they had to cancel their endeavor with Bao. They had this model in the works, and they had to come out of nowhere and basically say, "Yeah, I gotta cancel this."
That sucks.
Well, I have these issues going on, and I don't have time for the capacity for it. And again, it serves towards this exclusivity agreement, which, again, let's shift gears back to the original Google Doc. I know it's like all over the place, but that's how we're working through this stuff. There is a section about exclusivity and blacklisting other creators.
And basically, they were going around talking shit about all these other creators and saying, "Oh, you shouldn't work with these creators. You should only work with us, and I want you to be exclusive to us." And like, oh my god. This is why I can't, bro. I'm not saying that all VTubers in the VTuber community are bad, but I don't know what it is. Whenever VTubers get to a certain point in their careers, it's like, we can never go a day without some bullshit going off, man. It's so annoying. It really is. Like, and this hurts even more is because, you know, the VTuber community, as far as the corporations, they always have their own problems because the corporations be doing bullshit, shady nonsense. But this is an indie VTuber, which hurts even more. Bruh, like, this is somebody who's doing this independently, no corporation behind it, none of that nonsense. Like, oh my god.
You can see in the messages below, they mentioned wanting an exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity, but rather when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission,
so they didn't even want
model work for Cinder only And if anyone asks,
So wait. So it's not even like you just wanted to pay for exclusivity. You just wanted them to basically say you can't work with anybody on our blacklist. If if they do contact you, just basically tell them no. That's what I'm getting out of this. So they weren't even trying to be like, we'll pay you for this exclusivity. We just want you to do it. Oh my. Oh my god, bro.
for my commissions, they commissioned me instead to compensate for not working with other creators. This felt very strange, given that one of the accusations they made was overworking their editor, yet their solution to me working with other creators was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other projects.
Basically,
Again,
that's why they top
this
all that
nano
nonsense
baby
that they
is
had.
pretty palpable here, but again, referring to
Like,
some
how
of
you
the
gonna
stuff
talk
down
about how other creators are gonna overwork the one that's working with you, but then you want to turn around and be trying to overwork your own editor so that they don't work on other people's stuff? Like, what is that? That is so scummy, bro. That is so scummy, bro. Like, jeez.
here, the pressure that they're trying to line up over this whole exclusivity thing is crazy. We also see one of our concerns is that more nano babies means nano models don't have the same value anymore. So, in case you don't know what the nano babies things
What the fuck is a nano
means,
babies
it
thing?
basically means one of the VTuber models she created that they would be referred to as nano babies, right? And they're trying to put pressure on nanolists, saying if you keep making more models and you keep working with more people and, making a living for yourself, you're going to
Basically.
make these models less valuable for Cinder and you're going to hurt her bottom line. You can see the angle they're going for.
So they're basically trying to tell Nana to stop making VTuber models entirely. And you'll only make stuff for Cinder specifically, and that's it. Like, it's not even just one of those things where you don't want them to work with anybody else, but we don't want you making any more VTuber models, period. Once again, I would say that it's just redacted here making these statements, but considering it's the boyfriend and they definitely know what the hell they're doing, yeah, this is some scummy shit from
Right
both
there,
of them.
but there's also some more redacted sections over here, but Cinder herself would respond to this whole point about the nano babies not having the same value anymore, and she would say this in response to Nanola saying, "Hey Cinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Red and I believe he talked to you already. I thought it would be best if I just checked here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me and I think I misunderstood things." They ask, "What's up?" And they say, "Oh, it's mostly this," referring to the diminishing value of these nano babies as they work with more clients. I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me. They're starting
It's
to realize,
not.
wait a second, this isn't fair.
Especially if they're making money off of it, bro. Like, what are you doing? Trying to tell people how to make a living? Especially when their work is just highly, like, it's good. And they're like, why would you want to screw over your own editor? Like,
Very fair. Where Cinder responds by saying, "I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business." That is the quote that people are taking away.
it's just business, huh? Really? If it's just business, then why the frick are you trying to only keep her exclusive to you? Sounds like it's something more personal to me, bro. Jesus, man.
From this, we've heard other infamous quotes in the VTubing scene that have backfired or presented themselves as very ironic with context, but the whole thing about it's just business at the end of the day is a perfect summation of what's going on here. It's all just business to Cinder, and that's okay, right? On its face. It's okay to treat this like a business and to try to maximize your opportunities, but when you're already at the top of the VTubing scene and you're privately going around and sabotaging the careers of your own friends and other peers, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy behavior.
Wild work, bro.
Now,
Wild
let's
work.
go back to this right here. You're seeing some more redacted names. Don't work with blank ever again. Down here, again, you don't work with these people ever again. And there was also this.
Like, they just
about
blacklisting everybody.
this particular individual. Well, we know who this individual is now. It is Silvervale, another person who is very popular in the VTubing scene and really just content creation.
So let me get this straight. So that's two very popular indie VTubers now that are getting shafted by one indie VTuber and her boyfriend manager. Because they want to gatekeep a freaking editor. Never seen this person before, but
general, and she made her own statement about this because based on context, she figured out.
Yeah, here we go, bro. Another Google Doc. What is that? 4 Google Docs now?
Jesus. A lot of these mentions were about.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I was to go and actually find all of these, it would probably take me a couple of days to read through every single one. Let alone if I was to live stream this shit and read through it, bro. I'd probably fall asleep trying to read through all of it because I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to reading through drama stuff, I could care less about it. Like, it just bores me, but at the same time, it's also important to look at because this, especially being myself being a VTuber, it involves me to a degree.
Her. But this is an interesting one because she's not friends with Cinder. In fact, a lot of the details we're going to see is a lot of pressure being put on Silvervale by Cinder to form a business relationship or a forced friendship, really just for financial opportunities that leaves Silvervale uncomfortable and constantly rejecting Cinder and her ideas regarding those things I just mentioned. But let's begin with the intro from Silvervale, saying her intention is to give herself closure of these events that personally affected her. I debated if I wanted to even say anything after being asked if I wanted my name in the original document censored.
I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Like, when it comes to this kind of drama, I know obviously people want to keep their privacy, but unless, I don't know, I can't even say that anymore because we live in a day and age where people be out here stalking people, doxing people, and all sorts of nonsense, bro. So I can't even say that no more. Like, if this was back in the day, I would say, it doesn't matter if you name drop somebody because what are they going to do? Yell at you on the internet? Nah. We can't do that no more because these days, especially with the super fans and the simps and whatnot, we've seen that people are crazy enough to go into, go out and, be doxing people showing up at their house and all sorts of bullshit, bro.
As the situation is much bigger than just my personal experience, however, after finding out how wide and extensive the transgressions were, I feel the need to give clarity to my situation and how I was personally affected. I want to note, as others have, that a majority of the messages are from redacted Cinder's manager. I find it impossible that he acted solely on his own intentions without Cinder's knowledge or consent, given the extent to which he has represented her publicly
at this point, yeah,
professionally. And she talks about some of these situations involving things we've already talked about, but the big part here is now the reveal that this exclusivity agreement not only targeted Bao and this censored name, but also Silver, and then directly mentions Silvervale down here, saying if Silver ever asks for art, you tell her no, and then we'll buy you another piece of art. Like I said, literally burning.
Basically, once again, yeah. Like I said, basically coming up with fake jobs out of thin air just to keep their editor busy so that she doesn't work on anybody else's stuff but theirs. Scummy behavior for real.
Their own money just to make sure Silvervale doesn't have an opportunity to work with this artist. Pretty wild stuff. But of course, we look through everything, and it's getting
business is business, bro. Jesus Christ.
Down here we see Cinder making a claim that we'll see repeated multiple times.
The crazy thing is, too, is that Nano never agreed to an exclusivity deal. What is happening here is they are abusing the hell out of Nano because she didn't sign an exclusivity deal, but because Nano's being nice and is trying to basically, not hurt Cinder, who doesn't give a fuck, by the way, based on what I'm seeing, she's kind of hurting herself or himself trying to please these two idiots, bro. Oh my god. It's like basically, her kindness is being taken as weakness. She's being basically manipulated here.
So when
This is like some
Nano
Eisen
started
level
saying
freaking manipulation
sorry
right
for
now.
stepping back on this exclusivity deal, that they wanted to apologize personally to Cinder, and that they've talked with Red as well, and they want to be dragged into personal issues and drama and stuff like that, and that they don't want to basically abandon Silvervale as a client, and it's destroying their mentality to do that kind of a deal. Cinder says, I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's just really confusing going back and forth about it.
There was no confusion at all. Nano wanted to work on Bal and Silvervale stuff, and you guys kept coming up with bullshit to overwork Nano so that she wouldn't be able to work on other people's stuff. And not to mention having a blacklist. Like, what the fuck is that? On creators that you don't want them to work with. Like, come on, bro. It was not confusing. You guys know what you were doing. Let's cut the bullshit.
To her a lot, even still today, and it's like I'm always living in.
So basically, it's jealousy. That's fucking. That's what this is all about. Between Bao and Silvervale, I would assume it's jealousy. Oh my god, and that's why she has her on a blacklist. Oh my fucking. Man.
Which is one reason why Red asked you about not making any more models for her. So you can see
she's trying to sabotage not only Nano, but she's also trying to sabotage Bal and Silvervale because apparently she's getting compared to Silvervale specifically in this conversation. And she's basically trying to, once again, become the top of the food chain so that she could say that she's better than Silvervale. That's this bullshit. Oh my god.
That this comparison to Silvervale is just living rent-free in her mind.
Rent-free, bro.
Speaking casually here, like I don't really get the connection that much. And also, I would say Cinder really shouldn't be so threatened by everyone around.
Like, why? Why would you be threatened? You're literally one of the biggest indie VTubers out there. Why are you threatened by another indie VTuber? Like this is like the popularity Olympics out this bitch. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of how Hassan was like, getting pissed off at Asmongold because, all of a sudden Asmongold now is the biggest, I guess, political streamer now instead of Asmon, though to be honest, Asmongold could care less about being the biggest political streamer. Hassan only cares about that shit. So that's why at one point, it was very recent where Hassan was complaining and making videos about freaking Asmongold and complaining and all sorts of bullshit. It was ridiculous. That's basically what this is Silvervale, in this case, is living rent-free in Cinder's head. And she's scared. Cinder is scared of, I guess, Silvervale being bigger than her or whatever the bullshit might be. So she's trying to sabotage not only Nano, keeping her only working with Cinder, but not only doing that, but also sabotaging anybody else who wants to work with him so they can stay at the top. That's all this is.
Up at the top. I don't know why she's so hostile.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
But, of course, this mention of someone kind of ripping off their brand, reminding people too much of themselves or being compared to, is something we've seen before with Nyantails here, okay? Someone from the ASMR scene pointing out that a couple years back, they were dogpiled by their community, by Cinder's community, because she decided to make a Cuddles with a Lonely Hellhound ASMR audio. Okay, so in case it wasn't clear already, Cinder has a Hellhound themed VTuber. And
yeah.
The community, seeing that someone had the audacity to try to claim any sort of ownership of a Hellhound concept even making.
That's bullshit, bro. That's bullshit. That's that copy. Didn't I react to a video? I think it was last year. Didn't I react to a video last year? Maybe I didn't. I'll have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure I reacted to a video last year where there was a VTuber, not a very well-known one, but a small VTuber who made a video called "The VTuber Community Sucks Sometimes," and he made a point. He made a point where he was talking about this exact situation where people be talking about, oh, you copied this or you copied that. Why do you care, bro? You don't own the genre. You don't own that certain character. Do you know how many people out there that have a fox, a cat, or like, you know, some form of VTuber like that, bro? Like, for instance, my character is like, you know, shit, I think my VTuber model, I based it off of a freaking cat's human, whatever, right? Like slash Soul Reaper. Though to be honest, I'm the only Soul Reaper VTuber that I've seen. Though to be honest, I'd love to see other ones. Like, why do people care, bro? Like, it doesn't. I swear I'm gonna find that video. Do I want to react? Do I want to show that right now? We're like, how many minutes in were this video? This is ridiculous. Jesus Christ, this is about to be an hour. Holy crap! Now we're not gonna do that here, but yeah, this is ridiculous.
ASMR roleplay audio using the concept of a hellhound. They thought that was ripping off Cinder.
How?
The community were saying stuff like, "You're cringe." She was getting dogpiled. Had to remove a lot of this stuff because of the overwhelming dogpiling. And you can see on tweets like this, liked by Cinder, and also redacted as well. Not too surprising.
Oh my god.
And this
I'm gonna be real. I would ignore the shit. That's just me. I just have the mental capacity where if somebody's out here saying I copied this or I copied that, I'm gonna be real. Do you own this shit? I'm gonna be real. Did I specifically take your model and then try and make it as my own? Because if I did not, then I don't know what to tell you, man. You're not the only one allowed to use that kind of model, bro. You're not, like, you don't own the genre of VTubers, bro. Oh, like, once again, bro, this is why, bro. This is why I say I don't, like, I am a VTuber, but I don't be getting myself involved in this shit, bro. I really don't. Like, I rarely, and I mean rarely, involve myself with the VTuber community. And when I do, it's, like, small shit. It ain't nothing huge, but it's because of bullshit like this.
Notion that she owns the concept.
Like, imagine, like, obviously, you know, as far as I know, I'm the only Soul Reaper, VTuber model out here. Imagine somebody else makes a Soul Reaper VTuber model, and then I go out of my way to be like, oh, you copied me. Like, bro, what? No, bro, we're not doing that. No.
Concept of a hellhound and is supporting people dogpiling on this other creator because she dared to use the concept for an ASMR roleplay is wild.
That's the crazy part. It's not even like it's not even a model. It's just ASMR, bro. What the fuck? That's what makes it even worse. Because usually when you see this kind of nonsense, it's like, oh, you copy my VTuber model because you're also the same kind of creature that I am, or some bullshit like that. Or you look too similar to me. That kind of nonsense, right? This isn't even any of that. This is an ASMR. Oh man, bro, you gotta love it.
The unbelievable pettiness is crazy, and also just reminiscent of a better time when likes were public. Miss those days. It used to be such a good tool. But let's go back to the art or the Google Doc from Silvervale. And this is the most brutal section. If you hung in there for the, oh my god, 25 minutes we've been talking.
Hey, we here, man. This is an hour long. This is about to be an hour-long video, bro.
Of this entire thing. It's just embarrassing and
hour long, bro. We in here. We deep.
So it's titled Cinder and I. Discovering that all of this was going on behind the scenes has been gut-wrenching. I didn't know Cinder. We weren't friends. And we have barely talked. Even writing this, I do not understand what I could have possibly done to warrant the level of malice and cruelty shown. In our private interactions, I was cordial as possible. but I just wasn't interested in associating with her professionally or being her friend. From the few uncomfortable interactions I did have with her, I had gotten the vibe that her primary goal was to climb the social and content ladder and grow her brand. And she goes on to say, like, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine, but I just don't want to be associated with someone like that at all. Just trying to pretend to be a friend for the purposes of growing their brand.
Which makes sense. You know, if you want to go ahead and grow your brand, yeah, go ahead and do that. That's your right to do so. But, you know, I wouldn't do it either. You know, I'm not gonna if I'm gonna be friends with somebody, whether it be in the VTuber community or outside of the VTuber community, the last thing I want to do is be a friend with somebody just to grow my my following or my reach. Like, I want to be friends with you because I want to be friends with you. You know, that's what being friends is all about. You shouldn't be doing any of this nonsense where you're just trying to be friends with people just to grow off of them. Like, that's just leeching at that point.
But then we get this screenshot saying the only time I had actually talked to her directly was during my meet and greets at TwitchCon 2023. I had just finished my meet and greet, and as I was wrapping up, she walked directly to the screen to meet me and had someone else take a picture of us together. I was not informed of this picture or asked permission for it, and only knew about it once I saw it on Twitter later on. And you can see Cinder cosplaying her own character, talking to Silvervale on the meet and greet.
You know what I need to do? I need to cosplay my own character. I mean, I kind of already do. The only thing I'm missing is my own ears and a Sharingan, because I have it. Like, it's, you can probably barely see off of my own character, but I do have a Sharingan on because obviously I took some influence from Naruto, which is why my channel's named Shikai Shinobi. I love Bleach and Naruto, two of my favorite anime in the whole entire, anime sphere. But maybe I need to do something like that. Though, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if ears would look good on my character. I mean, maybe with the white hair wig that I showed in the videos that I did it, maybe that would work. I don't have a tail, so I don't got to worry about that either. So shit, like, once again, I'm literally half human and half like I'm basically a Nika or Neko if you want to go that far. But Neko Soul Reaper. I'm like Kamamura, but instead of dog, it's cat.
After my meets, Wolf Girls, like trying to imply like they're united and they're in this together, even though this was the first conversation they ever had. It's like a very lame attempt to present this fake friendship or a fake mutual respect here.
That is so rough.
Try to gain some of her community as a result. Very strange stuff. And you can see later on there'd be more discussions. I believe this is Silvervale's manager saying, also, Cinder really loved meeting you and wanted to collab, so I told her I'd let you know and I could throw you guys in a group chat if you're interested. And Silvervale would say, hello, I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't prefer collabs. And the manager says, no worries. I hope you're having a good weekend. And Silvervale says, aw, thanks. Still busy with a lot of IRL stuff. Sorry for not being interested in collabs. I just like to do my own thing, but I'm always open to messages, yada, yada, yada. So then after that,
I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to collabs, I wouldn't mind doing a collab with somebody, VTuber outside. It's just that right now, for me, doing a collab, it's not impossible, but with me being in the military and whatnot, I have to wait until I get done with my contract so that, I don't have to worry about something possibly interrupting that. But I don't know. I feel like collabs would be fun, at least in my opinion, for what I do. I play a lot of different games and whatnot. I would I played so many different games that's like, doing a collab with somebody wouldn't be the worst thing. It's just like I just have to make sure that whatever game we're gonna collab, we both have fun playing it. And I feel like that's the hardest thing to do when it comes to a collab. It's timing because obviously people got different time zones. B, finding a day to do it. And then C, finding a game that both players can enjoy so that, it ain't looking like you're forcing yourself to play something. Because me personally, if both of us ain't enjoying it, then we ain't doing it. That's just how I roll. That's how I roll, but I digress. No, acting like you're somebody's friend, though, so that you can gain some of their following is kind of shady shit for real, though. Like, that's really shady. And once again, I would not want to be friends with somebody if all I'm gonna do is try and use them for their followers or their clout or whatever. Like it's just I wouldn't be able to look at myself the same and be like, yeah, that's my following right there, man. I didn't just go and steal somebody's shit like there's no way, no way.
Cinder would then reach out directly to Silvervale and have this private DM saying, "Hi Silver, sorry for getting back to you late. I've been super sick from TwitchCon, yada yada yada. But yeah, no worries if you don't prefer to stream together. My manager suggested something more like sponsorships, merch, music, or some kind of other project together that maybe Mythic could help with if needed. I love to chat more either way." And Silvervale responds by saying, "No worries, it's been super hectic and busy for everyone. I hope you're feeling better. I'm really flattered by the persistence, but I'm just not interested."
So basically, she tried to go in for a second time to try and get a collab with Silvervale, and Silvervale once again is like, I'm not trying to do anything like that. Thank you. I'm glad that you're interested, but I'm not doing it right now. That's basically what just happened here, which makes this even worse. That now she's turning around and talking shit about Silvervale because you literally were so desperate beforehand to try and collab with her. That is crazy.
Interested in transactional relationships with anyone. I hope you can understand. So they saw all the context of these interactions between the managers and then through Cinder herself and said, "You're proposing a transactional relationship. Like every aspect of this, even the interacting here is just part of
Yeah, the old thing and just it's the crazy thing is too is if you read the text message talking about sponsorships, merch, music, or some sort of other project, you know, it all sounds like just using her to get a bigger following. It's not even like, oh, let's do this collab and just have fun with it. Like what happened to that? Isn't that the whole point of having a collab? Is to have fun with it? And if you get followers or if you're two, audiences end up liking each other, that just goes along with it naturally. Like, what is going on here?
Don't want that. Basically, go away. Based? Pretty impressive. I mean, she came up with the phrase Twitter freaks like 2 years ago, but this is up there with that. Pretty base stuff right here. But then we would get more comments from Redacted.
Holy man.
Subject talking about how, like, at the end of the day, it isn't about how much we can make compared to her. We just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder's a big VTuber too. She got there on her own merits, just like you did. Get along. And the marketing potential and the money they could make if they teamed up. I love how that's the only part.
That's the only. Like, once again, bro, what happened to just having fun, bro? The only thing these two care about is the marketing and the sponsorships and like, bro, that will all come with it, bro. If you're just having fun, and as big as both of you are, I wouldn't have been surprised if Silvervale wanted to actually try to do the collab if they just wanted to have fun with it. But the first thing you out here mention is money, sponsorships, merch, music, like what? I'm not surprised that Silvervale didn't want to go in. I mean, she already was saying before that she doesn't do collabs like that at that point in time because she was doing other stuff. But then you're persistent about it, and then try and mention all this other crap, and it's like, come on now, you made it way too obvious that you even trying to do this nonsense. Like, bro.
That is clearly the most important part of this proposed relationship between Cinder and Silvervale. It was all about making money, and when they got told no, they're now coping and seething.
Yes, cope. It's
even went as far as implying that some of Silvervale's various projects, like a spinning figure, was just copycatting Cinder. That they were trying to piggyback on her ideas and basically try to replicate it. And
it's called inspiration, bro. It's called inspiration, bro. You weren't the first one to invent a spinning figure. Pretty sure that's been invented before. That's like when I be seeing nonsense in the anime community where it's like, you know, oh, this anime copied this or this anime copied that. Bruh, how you think these got made? It's called inspiration, bro. Ain't like they just took it out of the anime and said, oh, we're going to do the exact same thing. They took it and made it their own in their own way. You don't, like, once again, it's back to the whole copied VTuber model or Hellhound bullshit all over again. Like, you don't own that shit, bro. You don't own the spinning model or a spinning figure. You don't own the fucking, oh my god.
This was feeding into this narrative that people were allegedly making, that there's some sort of a copycat situation here, that people are associating the two together and it's driving them crazy. And they want Silvervale to recognize Cinder and that they feel there's an unspoken competition. Remember,
hold on. She basically, once again, it's a jealousy thing, but it's also a, hey, notice me, I'm big too kind of thing, where it's like Naruto trying to get Sasuke's approval to a degree, right? That's basically what this shit is. Like, you really want to boil it down. This whole thing is jealousy, but it's also Naruto trying to gain Sasuke's approval. This shit is crazy, man.
At this point, Silvervale pretty much doesn't even know who Cinder is, and
that's the worst part.
Proposed set of interactions, they pretty much said.
That's like the worst part. Is like, bro, Cinder doesn't, like, Cinder and Silverwell are basically just, like, if you really want to go by like they don't even know who really each other are. They've met one time and that's it. But yeah, Cinder is trying to act like they're best buddies and everything. Like, that's like if I was to go up to like some of these bigger VTuber creators and try to talk all this mess and everything. They don't even know who I am, bro. Like, come on.
No way. I don't want this transactional relationship. I don't know why Silvervale just like completely mind broke these two people, but yeah, the proof is there. And of course, as a result of all of this, it gets pretty unfortunate because then, through this whole exclusivity issue, Silvervale lost out on a model commission from Nanolis. And that is the whole issue here, because this was something she was looking forward to, and it was taken away from her because Cinder and Redacted didn't want her to have the benefit of working with Nanolis because they knew it was a good career opportunity for her, or at least something special to her community. This whole thing is a complete and utter mess. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. There's still some other important stuff, but I want to keep this somewhat brief, and if we have to do a follow-up, we certainly will. But the reaction...
If there is a follow-up to this, we're reacting to it. I don't even care. Because this is actually wild-ass work, bro. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this, bro. Like, oh my...
Been, brutal, to say the least. I think the overwhelming majority of people are not happy with Cinder in this situation. And now some of these old thumbnails from their clip channels are not doing great.
Damn, bro. Like, yeah, the irony is crazy.
Cinder ruins her friendships. My friends should have never trusted me.
Yeah, that did not age well.
My model artist exposes all my secrets.
Nah.
And then we also see that fans are saying, are you kidding me? I just bought my Cinder.
Yeah, nah, imagine, that's the crazy part. Imagine being a Cinder fan and then all of this shit just comes out, man. I'm telling you, they are going through it, bro. It's like when the My Hero Academia fandom went through their shit and they're still going through it. Where, Horikoshi basically confirmed that Deku and Uraraka, or Chaco, my bad, were kind of close, at the end of his manga, and they all crashed out because the Deku Baku shippers realized that shit ain't gonna happen, bro. Like, oh my god, that's basically what's happening here. Though, to be honest, this is probably...
And then, you see on her Discord server, everything is shut down.
Damn, they shot...
and they're trying to spin some damage control here. It's not great. This whole
Yeah.
thing is reflected really badly on her. Like I said, it's one thing you find out someone behind the scenes is not a very nice person, but it takes on a whole nother level when you're privately sabotaging the careers of not just your peers, but also
Your
people you
editor,
claim to be
bro.
friends with, or people who thought they were friends with you, but in the end, they were just a threat to Cinder's bottom line.
Which is nuts because they weren't even a threat. They didn't, like, two of them didn't even know who she was, bro. Barely. I don't, like, what happened to having fun with this shit, bro? Come on, bro. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to see how this all goes. As an indie VTuber myself, once again, I think this hurts a lot because VTubers already kind of get a bad rep as it is. They're kind of memed upon. Even the larger ones, like, I remember when Kai Cenat and, Iron Mouse had their whole kind of thing that was going on. It wasn't even them two having anything going on. It was the fans going on it. But it was like, a lot of, Kai Cenat's audience during that point in time was like, who watches VTubers? Yada, yada, yada. It's like, it was a lot of toxicity and whatnot. So it's like, seeing this, it sucks to see, bro. It really does. But I mean, if there's more, I'll react to it, I guess. As a VTuber myself, it kind of sucks seeing this kind of shit happen. And once again, it's the reason why I kind of stay out of the VTuber community a lot. But, hey, shit. I mean, we'll see how this all goes down. But so far, it ain't looking good. And I've, once again, never watched any of these creators. I don't know anything about Silvervale, Val, or Cinder outside what's in this. But it's like, damn. We'll have to see how it all goes, but based on what I'm seeing here, it ain't ending well. Long video, like hour-long reaction, but damn, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you guys think of all this. Not my usual react content. This is one of those things where I just found it interesting, or I've seen a lot of it, so I'm just here reacting to it. But, we'll see how it all goes, and Shinobi sign off. I gotta go to bed anyway. I gotta work in the morning. See you guys later. Peace.